What's up guys, Barry Gaming here, back with some more AFK Journey, and today we're going to be talking about this man right here, King Croaker, and we're going to be talking about some of the best free-to-play hero options you guys can get to really do well against this boss. Of course, you can always take a look at the hot list, but guess what? You might not actually have all of these hot heroes, and even if you do, they might not be optimal if they're not, that Mythic Plus, and we're talking about free-to-play. So we want to know what budget heroes, single copy heroes, things like that we can use to up our damage. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Make sure you take 1 second, hit that like button on this video if it helped you guys out. Let's talk about it. So essentially we're on a free-to-play account. We've been playing for like 3 or 4 days now. It hasn't been all that long, and we've already beaten the first version of King Croaker. Now that one is going to be a little tough at the very beginning. However, there are a couple of his abilities you really want to play around. One of them being his AoE damage. When you do place your heroes, you're going to want to put your heroes kind of spread apart so they're not going to be taking as much damage here. And really there's one thing that this hero or this boss does that can really hinder you, and that's if you haven't found yourself a Thoran copy. He's going to shoot a magic bubble at the closest enemy, deal at 15, 35, 55 seconds, instantly kill the target. Now you would immediately think, hey Barry, you know what, I actually have one of those one-off copies of Brutus. I'm going to use him instead of Thoran. Well, sadly this Brutus is immune to the first fatal blow he receives. Doesn't seem to work against King Croaker, sadly. It would be an awesome fix because, as you guys know, the best tank and really the only tank for this battle here, we're actually gonna have to go into our book here and show you guys, is Thoran. I've been unlucky. I haven't got a single copy of him. I mean, the main reason why it's good is because compared to Brutus, who would go immune when he receives fatal damage, it for some reason doesn't work that way. Thoran is going to resurrect himself, so he is going to die, he's going to resurrect himself, and then he's going to be able to eat that second bubble at the 35-second mark. Now, once he goes down that second time, you're pretty much out of luck unless you're a spender most likely, or you've gotten insanely lucky with Thoran copies, and you get his WOLFPACK exclusive weapon. That is going to allow him to have essentially that third life, meaning he's going to be able to soak all 3 of those bubbles. Those bubbles are important to soak with him. Beyond that, his ultimate also increases the damage the enemy will receive and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Right here, his Soul Plunder is going to make them take 13% more damage, which is another nice buff against bosses. However, if you don't have him, sadly, there really isn't a substitute. Now, if you don't have a Thoran, you might as well throw some sort of frontline hero that can survive long enough to eat that first bubble. And my first pick for that is even a single copy of Kruger. Even if he just gets a basic attack off, he's going to be giving that Shatter Armor effect. If he does get an ultimate as well, he's going to shed that physical defense of the target even more. And if he does die to the first bubble, then hey, it kind of is what it is. He's a really good substitute hero. Beyond that, you're basically gonna want to be running just your strongest heroes on your entire account. Like, that's simply put. We're gonna power up these heroes as much as possible. We want to make sure we have the best equipment equipped too. It looks like we actually have some really potentially good upgrades here. I kind of just want to do this right here, even though it's not the highest rank. Do this right here, and we can get our gear levels higher as well. So, other heroes you want to be using in this are going to be heroes like Smokey and Mirky. He's going to do really good because, again, there's a lot of AoE damage. He's going to do very well here. Another hero that actually I don't have on my free-to-play, but if you don't have him, can be a good substitute, Haywin. You're going to want someone who does some AoE healing because there's going to be a lot of that damage going out. Those 2 healers are pretty much the top. Another one you can use is probably Damien. Mainly helps because he's not on the battlefield and he should be able to heal decently through that. And then when we move to the damage dealers, I mean, you're just going to be using early on your strongest damage dealers. Again, the typical, you're going to want to go for Merrily on your account. You're going to want to go for Odie. And then me personally, I went with both Florbell and Cessia, which usually you only want to go with one of them, but that's pretty much the solid team that we're talking about here. Again, there's another hero in Thoran that as you level him up, he can get better, and you might want to put a couple warriors in this fight because, well, it might be worthwhile. So let's talk about positioning. You guys saw here, I was trying to use Brutus. Brutus just doesn't fill the role that we want him to. So we're going to put Kruger at the front to get some of that physical defense shed. Now, we do have 2 physical damage dealers in our summoners, which is good. Odie is a magic damage dealer, so he's not going to synergize as well here. But as you guys can see, this is going to be the team I'm going to go for, mainly because we have them all at Legendary Plus. There are better options down the road, like Merrily, like Thoran. However, if we don't have them leveled up high enough, that's when we're going to come into an issue. We're also going to want to place these heroes based on how much damage they're going to do, because essentially, after he uses the bubble attack and he kills a target off, he's going to move to the next closest target to use that bubble on. So we want to try to have our heroes in an order that is going to be the most beneficial, keeping our damage dealers alive as long as possible. So again, we're going to try to keep Croaker alive as long as possible, giving him tons of healing, hopefully letting him absorb one of those bubbles, because if he dies before a bubble, that's going to be really, really bad. But you can see we only have him at like, what, Epic Plus? So we've only gotten like 2 copies of this hero, and there he goes down to the bubble. So now we have a ton of AoE damage still coming out. Sadly, he doesn't kill off the summons with his little bubble attack, so there is that. He's going to do another AoE hit, which again, this is why Odie or Haywin are going to be really good in this game mode. Very, very good. There goes our hero. That is the second big burst bubble we got, and it just so happens this time with this team composition, adding that Croaker in, we went from doing 91% damage all the way up to a new record, essentially getting to the next level, which is going to give us more summons and get us higher on the leaderboard. And that puts us at where? Number 66. Not too bad. Now, once you get to the difficult level, this really ramps up the difficulty. If you're a free-to-play player, you're in the early game, once you get past common 1, common 2, difficult is going to get extremely hard to go past. And then it's going to take a while to get to the final difficulty. So right here, I'm expecting our crew to go down, which is kind of a negative here. Yeah, see, so he got cleaved right there, which means the first bubble that does go out here is now going to go onto one of our other heroes that we want to keep alive. And you just try to get as many percentage point clearances as you can. There goes our Smokey right there. We still have a couple heroes up. If we can get 10%, I'll be happy with it, which we did. So that is some bonus rewards for us, maybe more rankings. And there's that bubble again at the 35-second mark, completely nuking us down. So going extremely heavy into damage dealers can be beneficial once you get up to this difficulty. However, there is one other thing we can try now. We did mention previously that our Brutus's shield doesn't technically work with the one-shot. However, if the shield keeps him alive, or we can run a tank that's strong enough to let him at least survive to that first bubble pop, that's going to be really, really good, which we should see here in a second. So you'll see it now comes out over to him here in 1 second. There it is, and now he does soak the first one. That's going to keep our healer, our Smokey and Mirky up for longer, and you can already see our damage is looking much better because we still have that healer. We're keeping our damage dealers alive, so there's plenty of things that you can do that kind of optimize your team. Yes, Brutus isn't going to be the end-all be-all. Thorn's going to be the better option overall, but by manipulating where your heroes are on the battlefield for those AoE splashes right there, how the bubbles are getting done, because right there you see Floor Belt is the next one to go down, and we almost actually get to 30%, so we get like 20% additional damage there just by changing a single hero. And you can see this is what we're going for. Yes, we don't have that defense down, but there are ways to increase your score. We're now ranked 42, and this is pretty good. So let me know if this helps your strategies out. Just manipulating your team just a little bit can actually make a huge difference on these bosses. And once again, we are dealing with an invalid traffic bug on our site, on our page, so we're not getting recommended that often. If you would do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment down below, let me know what you guys think about these strategies. If it helped you guys out, awesome. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the content, and I'll see you guys next time.